So we got to see what happened to the Israelites, right? Why are we, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, in the position that we are today? Why are we at the bottom? Why are we getting shot down in the streets? Why are we getting separated from our families at the borders? Why is this happening to us? Is it just a coincidence? Did we piss somebody off? And the answer is yes, we did piss somebody off. We pissed off the Most High God, and He put these curses upon us to remind us who we are. And that's the beautiful thing about it. We can go to the Bible and identify ourselves with these curses and know that, okay, this is what we did, and to get back on track, this is what we got to do. Hear what you got.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So it said right here, the Bible said unto the God is saying to Moses, and Moses is saying to the Israelites that, hey, listen, Most High God or Jesus Christ Himself said this, hey, listen, if we don't follow these commandments, that what? Certain things are going to befall us. And what are those certain things? Go ahead.
To observe, to do all His commandments and His statutes, which I command thee this day.
If we decide not to listen to His commandments and His statutes that He's given us, some things are going to happen to us. Go ahead.
That all these curses.
All these what?
All these curses.
So curses, everybody knows, is a bad thing. There is no such thing as a good curse. A curse mainly is a bad thing. So it said bad things will befall you if you don't listen to what I'm telling you. And we're going to see what some of these bad things are. Keep reading.
That all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Curse shalt thou be in the city, and curse shalt thou be in the field.
So one of these curses was being cursed in the city and cursed in the field. So when we look at curse in the city, it's obvious to look at our living conditions, right? When you look at the terms projects, ghettos, or Section 8, one group of people usually come to mind as a majority, and it ain't so-called Caucasians. It's mainly blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that come to mind when you think of the projects, the ghettos, and or Section 8 being allowed to them. We're not saying that other races don't get it, but as a majority, it's the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. So that's one way of being cursed in the city, right? Living the lowest estate, the bad, run-down parts of the city. Most of the time, our grass ain't cut up. You look over here, the grass ain't kept up. It's all overgrown. Nobody decided to come and make it look nice for our living environment. But you go to nice places like Evans or like where they got like where the Caucasians are staying at. Everything is well kept and groomed and it looks nice. And you don't mind to come outside and I'm saying be outside. But here it's like, okay, everything's overgrown and there's no maintenance. So there's like no protection, right? So it's like all these things are overgrown. It's like symbolism. So you see like everything's overgrown and wild. And that's the same exact characteristics that are shown through our kids in this neighborhood, right? They're overgrown and wild. So that's what we got to understand. All these things are biblical. Everything that's being brought out here is biblical. And we got to understand that once we understand that we can then apply these things to our life to fix our situation. Where you at? Go ahead. 16. So what we're doing is showing some of the curses that happened to the Israelites. And we're identifying who the Israelites are today, or who we have on the earth today. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. This is your history book. You are the Israelites according to the Bible. Read that in verse 30.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her.
So when you think back at history, that's what was happening in slavery. We'll be married, right? And then if we'll betroth the wife or be married or promised to a sister, and we'll be like together with her. But then there was times where the slave master might have somebody come from a different plantation, and then he wanted to like, I'm saying, deal with your wife. So what happened is, hey, the master coming, hey, listen, now I'm saying we got Jim Bob coming down. You eat your wife together, make it smell nice and look good, look presentable. You're gonna come in here with Jim Bob. Jim Bob gonna do his thing, do what he want with it, have a good time. That's what's gonna happen. Ain't gonna be no problems with it. And even if you did decide to buck up and try to go against it, it was either what? Put to death or made a public example of what not to do. So people were in fear of standing up against the slave master. Read that again.
Verse 30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build an house, and thou shalt not dwell therein.
He said we should build a house and we should not dwell therein. A good example is the White House today. Our people built the White House that's standing today. But we're not the ones that's dwelling or living inside of that. That was free labor, but you weren't paid for it during the time of slavery to build that White House and then still not be able to dwell in it. Or even with certain living areas, right? You would have us be the construction workers that come in there and build it up. But then there'd be like stipulations to be like, well, you can't stay here because of your nationality of who you are. If you're not a part of this race or that race, you can't stay in this area. But you're good to come in here and build it up and make it look nice for us. But when it comes to staying here, you can't be here. What's going on, my sister? Have you seen this before? Take a flyer, take a flyer. So what we're doing is showing our people who they are. Give me that in verse 32 now. Go ahead.
Verse 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people.
Said our sons and our daughters will be given unto another people. The same as that thing happened in 1419 and 1692. And even prior to that with the sub-Saharan slave trade, which a lot of people don't know about. They know about the transatlantic, but when it comes to the sub-Saharan, a lot of people are like, what the hell is that? That was back when the Arabs had us in slavery. Yes, the Arabs had us also in slavery. So it's not just one group of people, the white people, but the Arabs also, well, all nations had us in slavery. You know that, my brother? What's your name? My name is Jair. Isaiah. Did you know that all nations had us in slavery outside of just the white people? You didn't know that, right? So they have a thing called the sub-Saharan slave trade, right? I got a picture here for you. You met Joel. So in this picture, right, we know mainly of like the Caucasian selling us, right? Getting us over here in 1619, us going into slavery. A lot of our people know about that. What they don't know about is that the Arabs also themselves had us also in slavery. Right. So it's not just one nation of people that did this to us, but it's all nations. If you read this Bible, there's like little time periods where they had the Chinese, the Japanese. They don't call them by these names. They call them by their biblical names. So the Chinese would be the so-called Chinese would be Moab, and you have the Japanese would be Ammon. So they go by their biblical names in here, but they had us in different captivities. You got that in Joel? So yeah, start at 2. Yeah, start at 2. All right, so we're gonna read you. I'm gonna keep this up so you can look at it, but we're gonna read how the Arabs had us in slavery according to the Bible. Read what you got.
Joel chapter 3 and verse 2.
Yep.
I will also gather all the nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people.
They say plead with them there is talking about kill. Go ahead.
And for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land.
So they scattered the Israelites among the nations and they parted his land, which would be the land of Israel or Jerusalem. Go ahead.
Right. And they have cast lots for my people.
They cast lots for their people, right? So I don't know if it's on this sign or not. But you know like how I like when they used to auction us off, right? Like $5, $10. Hey, sold to him from the Charles Plantation, whatever. So those were that's that casting lots right there. When it said cast lots for my people, it's the same exact thing. So the thing is that the Bible prophesied it happening before it even happened. So go ahead.
And have given a boy for an harlot.
And they made our men what? They made our men breeders. So the strongest, biggest, and blackest buck, as they called them back then, that's what they would use to make more stronger versions of themselves, whether they be breeding with other women from different plantations or breeding with their own sisters or their own mothers. The slave masters didn't care. All they wanted was more slave labor. They wanted more men like him so they can bring in more profit from the field. Right. Go ahead.
And sold a girl for wine.
And sold a girl for wine. So like if you was married, right? So say you was married. You was back in that time period, you was married. Then your slave master, what's your last name, you mind me asking? Is that what? Lloyd. So you'd be at the Lloyd plantation, right? So then Master Lloyd come in and you be married. Like, all right, look here, man. Listen, I got Master Charles coming from the next plantation about 5 miles down the road. So he gonna need your bed wench there, which is your wife. You call my bed wench. Your bed wench there to make him feel good and have a nice time with her. Basically have sex with her. And there's nothing you can do about it because what? Anytime our people try to stand up to the white man in that time period, what usually happens? They try to stand up and try to defend themselves. What usually took place? They usually go good for them, but it ain't go good for them, right? So usually it was either way. It was either made a public example by lynching, being drugged behind the cattle with horses, being burned alive, being tarred, and like the Levi's, right? If you look at the pants of Levi's, on the back of it, they have the pants, and they have it like being stretched and pulled apart. That was actually what happened to us during the time of the Willie Lynch letter. So if you read in that book, it did the same exact thing. They'll take the black man, tar him, put feathers on him, light a fire up under him, tie one leg to this horse, one leg to that horse. They'll whip the horses, run in different directions and tear you apart while being burned with fire, while tarred and having feathers on you. So think about, just imagine seeing that today, right? If you saw that today, you was like, damn, he tried to defend his wife. You know what? I really don't want that shit to happen to me, man. You gonna fall back, like, bro, they doing it like that. I might just have to let you go, man. So it's gonna be what it is. Like, I love you and all, but shit, they going down like this. I ain't trying to go out like that. So most of our people would just, you know what I'm saying, fall back and be like, hey, man, listen. I can't defend you at this point because they doing this. I can't defend you. And that all happened because of our disobedience to God's commandments. We're gonna finish this off right here, though. Go ahead.
That they might drink. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyree and Zidon?
So Tyre and Zidon are the African nations, right? Because the Africans saw this as well. So when they say black people sold black people, this is what they're talking about. They're talking about the Africans selling the Israelites.
Right.
We are not the same people. They had the same skin complexion, but we are not the same people. So think
That's
about
right.
it. If we were the Africans people, why didn't the Africans come and save us already?
Right.
We've been over here so long in this captivity, and the Africans never came over here and saved us, and we they people. Does that make sense? If your brother got kidnapped from your house, and you knew where he was at, are you not going to go and try to save him? If you knew where your brother got kidnapped from, now, hey man, listen, I know where he at. Now I'm saying you're gonna go right up on these dudes to get my brother back. Now that's it. That's how you gonna roll, right? So the same exact thing would be like with the Africans, if we were their people. Hey, listen, man, they took our boys on ships over there. That's how we gonna do it. We gonna load up right over there and get our people back. That's how it should go, if we were their people. Right. So that tells you that one thing: we're not the same people.
Right.
We look the same with our skin color, but we are not the same people.
Right.
Go ahead.
And all the coast of Palestine.
All the coast of Palestine. We ain't forget about them. I ain't forgetting about it, man. So-called Arabs. So Palestine today, right? If you look at the map, you see that they're over there in what they call now the Middle East.
Right.
So that would be your Arabs, the Palestinians, because they had us in slavery as well. Along with the Africans, they sold the Israelites amongst the Palestinians, the Arabs, and that's not just it. We're gonna see who else is also involved with this. So right now we got the Africans and we got the Arabs. Let's see who else is involved with this thing, man. Go ahead.
Will you render me a recompense?
So God's saying, listen, after you done tar my people, lit them up under a fire, dragged them, made them fight all kind of animals, lynched them, drowned them, used them as gator bait, how the hell are you really going to try to repay me? You can't pay nobody back for that. So God's like being sarcastic and funny with them. It's like, how the hell are you going to pay me back for all this, man? You can't pay me back. Go ahead.
And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head.
So basically saying you can't pay me back. Go ahead.
Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly present things.
Right.
Talking about Israel. Go ahead.
The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem.
Talking about the 12 tribes right here, children of Judah and Jerusalem. Talking about the 12 tribes of Israel. Go ahead.
Have ye sold unto the Grecians.
Oh, it said, my people sold the Arabs, the Africans, and it also included the Grecians.
Right.
So the Grecians today would just be the Greeks.
Right.
And when you think of Greeks, who do you think of? Like a skin complexion, like race. Like the Greeks. Like Alexander the Great and people like him.
Come on.
What was his skin complexion? Alexander the Great, you don't know? All right, what about all right, so I'm telling you. They're white people. So the Romans, the Greeks, all of those are white or Caucasian people, right?
That's
so you
right.
got the Caucasians had a hand in our slavery. The Arabs, the Palestinians, the Bible call them, had a hand in our slavery. And the so-called, the real Africans had a hand in our slavery. So that's what's being prophesied right here. That these things, what happened to us, that's why I was asking you about the sub-Saharan slave trade. Because a lot of our people don't know about it. A lot of them know about the transatlantic because the transatlantic is down there, which a lot of people know of. But the sub-Saharan is one that kind of just falls in the back burner because it was smaller. But it happened way before the transatlantic. So the thing is this, the whole time I've been telling you about this, have I been making it up? Or have I been reading from the Bible? Reading from the Bible, right? So the thing is this, all of our history, everything that happened to us, it's all documented here.
What is a nation? Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.
And finally, my brethren, be strong.